Something else got brought up. Mike, I know you were talking about it off air, and so, of course, I decided to, kind of look into it. And this is one of those things where, what do you think about Jimmy Butler? Would he fit with these Mavs? And if so, how or what are you willing to give up to make it happen? Because I get on the surface, Jimmy Butler. Yeah. He's been a really good player for a really long time. He's a name I like. He's about what we're looking for. I wish he was like an inch or two taller, but you know what? He's about what you're looking for. And then you obviously have to deal with the reality of contract, age, what he's got left, everything like that. This was presented by Hoops Hype, who said the Mavs and the Rockets have emerged as potential interests, which makes sense on both fronts. Obviously, the Rockets have been, along with the Cavs, one of the biggest surprises of the NBA season. How do you feel about this, or has your feeling changed in 24 or 48 hours about it?
I would say it's changed some.
Okay.
I honestly did not know Jimmy Butler's contract situation when I saw this rumor yesterday. And I said, well, let's not do it yesterday. Because I was like, let's give it 24 hours and so we can all kind of gather our thoughts on this situation.
And the contract is $48 million for the rest of this season, and then he has a player option, which at this point I would assume he would pick up at $52.4 million.
Especially at his age.
Yes.
That's another thing I knew. I was like, he was drafted a long time ago, but he's still a premium player, right? He was recently in the NBA Finals. But he's 35 years old. His numbers are regressing a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's 35 years old. They probably should. But he doesn't shoot three-pointers.
Nope.
So then I'm like, gosh, is that a fit? He's like this bulldog of a player. Defensively, I would love him. His attitude and energy. I mean, Nico is a smart guy.
Yeah, he wants to win.
Nico has done a great job with these Dallas Mavericks and
just
figuring out.
Pause. If you're going to come to Palmer's and climb through the window, make sure you don't accidentally bump into one of the Pilates people.
Yeah, the Pilates people are
just be careful about
that. They're tired from their workout. And
back to you, Mike.
So
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't mind Jimmy Butler. I was excited about this rumor yesterday.
Yep.
The more I've looked at his contract, I look at the way I watched the Heat game last night. They destroyed I didn't watch any of the fourth quarter. It was worthless. Literally, the Heat were up by almost 50 points. They won by, I believe, 41. So, there was no reason to watch the fourth quarter.
Sure.
It was already chump time by the time you got to the fourth quarter. So, I like him. I like his game. The Heat know that they're not a contender anymore. I think they realize, we're a good team, but what's the point? He's 35. He has a player option. Can we get better for the future? Tyler Hero's a really good player. We have Bam Adebayo. But then I'm looking at Hoops Hype and trying to come up with $40+ million of players.
Do you want me to tell you the group that I think it would be?
Well, because real quick.
Yeah.
Luka and Kyrie both make approximately 40.
Sure.
Nobody else even makes $20 million on this team.
Yep.
So that becomes – you're not trading Luka or Kyrie, and so now I have to trade 3 to 5 guys to possibly make this work.
So, Corey, here is what I think could be a reasonable list.
All right.
And it's going to hurt.
Just say your words.
P.J. Washington,
all right, we're done.
Daniel Gafford, Maxi Kleba, Najee Marshall.
Look, the one of those guys I'm willing to part with.
You have to part with 3 of them to make it financially work.
Yeah, there's no way I'm trading P.J. He's my favorite player. We just talked to him yesterday. How can you do this to P.J. Washington
No.
He comes on our show and you're like, let's trade him away.
No.
He's having to financially
I am not saying that.
To make the NBA rules work, I have to trade 2 of those guys,
right.
at least.
At least, and I think probably.
Yeah,
I think probably.
Here's the thing, too. I don't know why the Mavericks would even consider trading Gafford or Lively, considering they have something nobody else has, and that or the luxury that we talked about with Devin Harris of having 2 bigs that are kind of the same guy and can do so many different things.
And it's not. I know you were talking about the stats, Mike, and you're right. You're right about that. The other thing is, you're betting on, if you make this trade, you're betting on a post-trade Jimmy Butler resurgence. All right? Because if you get the Jimmy Butler from right now, I realize he just came back and he was out a few games and everything, and he played last night and they beat the hell out of the Lakers. But the Jimmy Butler right now, that's a terrible deal. You're counting on hey, I'm away from Heat culture, whatever that is anymore, and I'm reinvigorated, and now I'm ready to make a run at a championship. If you don't get that, that would be a terrible deal, because the Jimmy Butler right now, he ain't it.
I would say the Mavericks are going to re-sign Kyrie. He's already pretty much made it known, I'm not opting into the third year of this deal, which I understand. He's like, not only am I not opting in, and I understand this, I want more money. I proved myself on this 2-year contract. I'm worth more than $41 million, which is it's a big number, but I totally get it. Jimmy Butler averages $50 million a year.
Yep.
So you're probably going to have to up Kyrie to closer to $50 million a year on like a 2 or 3 year deal after this season is over. I think that the Mavericks are going to be willing and ready to do that. But if you do a trade for Jimmy Butler, you're saying if we don't win the championship this year or next year, we screwed ourselves over a little bit in the future. I feel like there's a bigger window right now for the Dallas Mavericks to win in the next 5 years is a little bit much because I don't think Kyrie has 5 years left of great basketball. I believe he has 2 to 3 years left of still being this type of guy, but probably not much after that. So you have a nice window right now with Derek Lively and P.J. Washington, and I don't know how long Quentin Grimes will be a Dallas Maverick, but there's some guys that are still in their early to mid-20s, Daniel Gafford, who can help out for a long time.
P.J. Washington,
You do this trade, and you're saying if we don't win this year or next year, we're going to have to redo the team all over again and see if we can come up with a team as good as the 23-24 Dallas Mavericks that almost won.
Kevin, every year we go through, in baseball, the core four.
Yes.
I don't know what a core is for basketball other than like maybe 2 or 3 players.
Right.
How would you like to look at the core of this team? It's Luka and Lively. And then what else is it Kyrie?
I do put Kyrie in that core. I know he's older compared to the other two.
Out of the next group of people, though, Gafford and PJ are there for me, and I'm not exactly. Najee's making his way because of what he can do. There are a lot of guys. The depth is a luxury right now.
If you broke it up in chunks of 3, like I don't know how people feel about Klay Thompson. That feels like a short-term thing all the way.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. I think Gafford and PJ Washington are in that group. And the other thing that you said, man, I am so with you on this, is I do not want to lose Gafford or Lively because they work so well as a tandem.
Yeah.
You can have a big that you love on the floor every minute, every second of the game. I do not want to lose that.
No.
I will do it for Giannis.
Okay.
I will lose.
That's fair.
I will lose Derek Lively.
That's fair.
I like Derek Lively. I'm close to loving Derek Lively. I wish he would stay healthier.
That's fair.
And I think he will. He still has. I know this sounds weird because he's 7 feet tall. He has a child's body still. He's still a child. Evan Carter is still a child with his body structure. There's certain guys that come into the league that have a man's body. Nothing. Well, I guess both of them. Durant and Garnett both came in with a child's body. Their body changed. They didn't become these big physical guys the way Giannis has, but they changed into a man's body over time, and I'm expecting Derek Lively to be a thinner guy in his career, but he's going to change into a man's body over time. I
kind of don't want to miss
I will do it for Giannis because I know I'm getting a top 5 player, arguably I'll say top 2 player because I think Jokic has separated himself from everybody in the league. But I think there's the Giannis, Luka, Shea that are competing for the second best player in the NBA category. I will trade Lively and others for Giannis. I struggle to say I will do it for anybody else that could possibly become available in the next 2 years.
Kevin, one of the other things, I just saw this on the fan text, and I mean, this is something we've been talking about all along. Their biggest advantage right now is their size, their length.
Yeah.
Like it's so many different dudes. You got Najee, you got the 2 bigs. Everybody's big. Luka being a ball handler the way he is, but also being his size.
PJ Washington has really deceptive length too, the way he can move off positions.
And that's why he can guard everything, man.
Yeah.
You don't want to necessarily say, hey, we need you to guard the 5 a lot, but he can if he wants to, or if they need him to. But that is something I want to keep because that's a problem that you have to deal with in the playoffs.
So I want the Mavericks to make a trade. I think this is a great team that needs one more piece to possibly put them over the top.
You have a specific of what that piece looks like.
Yes,
too,
I just don't have the name.
Is it an upgraded Spencer Dinwiddie? Like
no,
another
it's an
form of that?
upgrade at like 6'9" to play a little bit of small ball, but he can. I'll tell you the perfect
Another
guy who's
PJ
not available.
Kind of guy?
Robert Horry.
Okay.
Robert Horry is obviously retired. We've had on Big Shot Bob.
Love Robert Horry.
6'9", 6'10".
Future Hall of Famer.
Don't need the ball. Going to play great defense. Knock down open jumpers. The problem is those guys aren't really readily available.
Sure.
Teams love
what are
those
they
guys
gonna
if
cost?
they have them. So that's the guy. Here's the other deal. I really can't afford a $50 million player. Not that financially the new ownership can't afford it. I can't trade 4 guys off of my team to make this financially work. Because like you're talking about Gafford. It would be really weird Klay Thompson chose you and then you would move him for Jimmy Butler at 35. But all right, Gafford, Klay Thompson, Maxi Kleba, Jaden Hardy, and Omax Prosper. I'm being honest. I think that's the deal.
Okay.
But I've now moved so many pieces.
I don't like that deal at all.
Right.
You know,
moved Gafford is a major player for me. I'm hoping that Klay Thompson is a major 20 to 30-minute guy in the playoffs when playoffs matter. How many guys I can't remember, Boris Diaw or somebody like that. You're like, he's not very good. And then the playoffs come, you're like, that SOB is playing really good basketball right now because they know what playoff basketball is about.
And I think the really cool thing, obviously the really cool thing is a bunch of food has just arrived in front of us.
Good.
We might have to cancel baseball nuggets. I don't know how that's going to go in the next segment. But the really cool news is, and the Mavericks get after it again tonight, you've designed hey, I'm looking for this one specific thing. I would love it if it becomes available. Oh, hey, Jimmy Butler's probably going to be available. By the way, there's Lou Williams, Chandler Parsons. We're all it's time to move off of Jimmy Butler. But you're in no need. You're yeah, I mean, if you were just giving him away and we can add him, sure, why not? Otherwise, no, why would I do that? I'm sitting in a position where I'm comfortable with my team. I would love to upgrade, but I'm looking for a very specific upgrade. I'm not in the name game anymore. And I know it's been a while, but for the longest time, the Mavericks were in the name game. They're who do you got? I'll take him.
I think I'm with you. I think this rumor is majorly floated out by the Miami Heat and Pat Riley.
Yeah.
When I went with the Houston Rockets team, now wait a second. Dylan Brooks is a valuable piece to their team. And why am I drawing a blank? Van Fleet, right?
Yeah.
They have to trade both of them to get Jimmy Butler because financially nobody makes any money on that team. They're all on rookie deals. All of their good players are on rookie deals except 2 guys. So if I got to get to about a $40 million number, I have to include at least one of those veteran guys who's really helping out my younger core, if not 2. And Jimmy Butler's on a 1-year deal that might be 2 at most, and he's getting close to 40 years old. So I'm the Miami Heat are throwing this out to see if teams, maybe other than the Mavs or Rockets, my opinion, would panic and go, we got to get in on this now. If the Rockets and the Mavs are possibly calling up the Heat, let's call them up and see what it would take.